Hey, Chris here from IELTS Advantage, and yesterday I asked a group of about 10,000 IELTS students, what's the one thing that you would like me to help you with? And the most common answer was, teach me how to speak like a native. So that's what we're going to do in this video. In order to explain to you how you can speak like a native and improve your English, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to my desk here and I'm going to write everything out for you. Okay, so to answer the question, how can you speak like a native? We have to start up here and answer the question, how long would it take you to speak like a native? Why do students want to speak like a native? Do you need to speak like a native to get a high IELTS score? And how do native speakers speak like a native? So there was actually a Harvard study done, Harvard University, and what they said was the average time that it would take someone to learn a language to native speaker level is actually 30 years. Now you might look at that and think that's unbelievable, or I know people that have studied English for a lot less than 30 years and they sound like a native English speaker. 99% of the time, or even more than 99%, they do not sound like a native English speaker. Even people who are at an extremely high level, if you put them in a room with other native English speakers, they would be able to point out the person who is not a native English speaker very, very easily. So why is this important? Well, this is very important for two reasons. One, are you going to spend 30 years doing something? Probably not. And then it brings us on to our second question. Why do students want to speak like a native? Well, one of the main reasons why this is YouTube. Over the last few years, learning on YouTube has become very, very popular. And if you go onto YouTube, you'll find videos saying things like, speak like a native in like 30 days or something like that, or 3 months or 7 days or something crazy like this. And the reason why they're making these videos is they are extremely popular. Students love this. And then other YouTubers see that these videos are popular, so they make a video saying speak like a native in 30 days, and then other people see it and they make a video saying speak like a native, and then you guys all watch these videos and think that it is very easy. So who is correct? A YouTuber who doesn't know really what they're doing, or a Harvard professor? The people making YouTube videos are very good at making YouTube videos, but most of them are not very good at teaching English. And the second reason, and it's related to this, is students love tips, tricks, and shortcuts. We all want to take an easy, quick route to success. But unfortunately, for things like learning a language, being successful in your job, starting a business, getting rich, being happy, having a successful relationship, these things are very rarely brought about by using tips and tricks and shortcuts. So now we know the reality is way beyond what you're probably prepared to do. We need to answer this question. Do you need to speak like a native to get a high IELTS score? And the answer is absolutely no. The vast majority of you need around a band 7 or a band 8. Band 7 is well below native English speaker level, and Band 8 is also below native English speaker level. You do not need anywhere near the level of grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation and fluency that a native English speaker has in order to get a Band 7 or a Band 8. So you're focusing on something that doesn't help you get the score that you need. It doesn't really help you achieve your goal, and it will take you way longer than you believe it will take you. But does that mean that we cannot learn anything from native English speakers? Actually, we can, by looking at this question. How do native speakers speak like a native? So I want you to think about when you're speaking your own language, your own mother tongue, the language that you grew up speaking. Do you think of grammar rules when you are speaking in your native language. No, you don't really think, I'm going to use this tense or that tense or this grammatical structure. You just use it naturally. Do you think of the pronunciation? Do you even think of vocabulary? Most of the time, absolutely not. When people are thinking about native speakers, what they are really saying are two things. One, they sound natural, and they speak without effort. So they're speaking effortlessly. They don't really have to think about it, and they sound very natural. Not just their pronunciation, but their sentences, their grammar, their vocabulary. It is all very natural. And you don't get to this point by learning grammar rules or learning lists of words or trying to impersonate someone like an American or someone who sounds like the Queen of England. You don't get to this level by doing these things. But this is what most teachers who are teaching English, this is what most of them are teaching in the classroom. They're teaching you grammar rules, they're teaching you vocabulary lists and things like that. Did you grow up learning grammar rules? No, you didn't. How do you speak like a native in your own native language? Well, what you do as a child when you're listening to language, you don't listen to individual words or you don't listen to grammar structures. You hear chunks of language. So these are words and phrases that normally go together. And then you use these chunks. And through hearing them, reading them, using them through speaking and writing, you then master these chunks of language. And the key word here is master. If you were to take a native English speaker and you asked them to speak about something they were unfamiliar with, let's say you took someone who knows nothing about medicine and you gave them a medical textbook, or someone who knows nothing about the law and you gave them a legal textbook that's full of words that they don't really understand and don't know how to use. If you ask them to read that textbook and then talk about that topic, they wouldn't sound like a native English speaker. Their fluency would be poor, they would misspeak, they would make lots of mistakes, they would use the words inappropriately and inaccurately because they haven't mastered this part of the language. By trying to sound like a native English speaker, you are pushing yourself way too far. You're attempting to do things that you're not capable of doing. Instead, what you should do is learn from native English speakers and use the language you have already mastered. So the problem for most IELTS students is they're trying to use language that they haven't really mastered yet because they think their level is not high enough. They think their language is not good enough. So they're constantly pushing way beyond their comfort zone. So their fluency is poor. Their use of words, their use of grammar is poor because they're constantly at the edge of their capability. When you're practicing, that is fine. It's actually good to push yourself out of your comfort zone. That's where the learning happens. But on test day, if you want to sound more fluent, sound more like a native English speaker, what you should do is use the language you have already mastered, that you feel comfortable using, that you don't even have to think about, just like when you're using your native language. You will never sound like a native English speaker. Probably never. But your goal is not to sound like a native English speaker. Your goal is probably to get a band 7 or a band 8. In order to do that, use the language you've already mastered. Keep it simple. If you do that, you are dramatically increasing your chances of achieving your goal, which is to get a band 7 or a band 8. If you try and sound like a native English speaker, you will probably be spending the next 30 years trying and failing, or what happens to most students is they fail a few times and then they give up and they never achieve their dream. Don't listen to people who are trying to get you to watch their YouTube videos. Listen to people like Harvard professors who know what they're talking about. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you need more help, always feel free to get in touch with us or go to IELTSadvantage.com.